live Friday night. Once again, FSBRacing.com, Winston Cup 88, old school Aero 88 mod. This is Mel Minder Jr., along with my cohort in crime, sitting here in Daytona, Florida. DaytonaBR. What's up, Greg?
What's up, Milty? What's up, everyone? Daytona. We're our second race of the season, Milty. As we know, in Winston, or not no longer the Winston Cup. In I don't know what it's called anymore. Monster Cup. Daytona, of course, is the opener, Milty. But here, hey, it's just another week. Just punch another ticket, man. It's Daytona this week. Everyone's familiar with it. This is the BR version. Good old Brian Ring put in a lot of work way back then, Milty. I think he was one of the first to bring out after the old aftermarket tracks that we love and enjoy throughout this series. So hats off to him. A little shout out on that. It's a great track. It's very competitive, and we're looking at our pole sitter right there, the 80 car, Ed Finley, the New Yorker from Long Island, Milty, on the pole. So maybe a little surprise here for the field.
Yeah, Ed packed the car in P1 tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he's from New York, not from Boston, Milty.
Yeah, well, you've been abroad, Greg. Me, I was a little kid in the motorhome when I went across country racing with my dad, but those accents real well. But one thing this dude can do is roll on these races, and man, would it be a Cinderella run for him to win this race? No jinx applied, but you got to say it.
Very true, and really, if we're gonna really look at it analytically, Milty, he's won races in our Super Speedway series, which, in my opinion, is a very, very difficult series to win races in.
Absolutely.
So the fact that he's pulled that off with really Super Speedway specialists, I think gives him that little confidence, and I think it's already showing with a pole against, who's on the outside of him, the great Slim Jim Gately, the 007 of Dan Jones, who's a fabulous super speedway guy, and the rest of the crew here falling in place. Our last week's winner, Ken Shea, with a quality effort there, Milty, and why we don't think of Ken as a super speedway guy. He's a great driver, and I think he knows to bide his time here and take what it's going to give him.
Well, and then, we got a new driver here, the 27 of Dan Irvine, sporting the Miller colors there, and you're looking at how he qualified and how he's running in warm-up here. This guy can roll.
Yeah, so, a rare newcomer venturing into the Winston Cup Series, Milty, and boy, I like I said, I think I've told this story a couple of times. My very first exposure to FSB, first time with a wheel in my hands, was in the Winston Cup Series.
Just like I told these boys in the meeting, we don't need anything over the top today. We got a good race car, we got a good driver, we got a good pick crew. All we got to do is just everybody carry their weight.
Absolutely, and also this is Daytona, so you also got to know what you're up against here. You don't have to do anything special. You have to keep your car clean and make good stops. You're going to see some green flag stops tonight. That's my second jinx.
Yeah, and that's another recollection from last week, Milty. Caution-free race to start the season.
Huge race.
Man, wow. Looking back on it now, I'm thinking of a few of our guys that we would expect to be good at Atlanta, Milty. I think they got caught short there with the green flags coming one after the other pit stop wise, and they just kept waiting for the caution, and it never showed up, and it really cost them. I think this time around, I think they want to get to the front, stay in the front, because if it stays green, it's pitting from the front is how you win here, Milty.
Yeah, that track position is huge. It's very hard to pass. The outside lane, usually, even though it's Daytona BR is, the work that Brian Ring did was to make that outside line better. It still takes commitment there, and everybody's going to go in line at first, I believe.
Yeah, and,
it's a smart move.
Looking through the field here, Milty, we got Ed and Slim Jim on the front row there, and there's the 09 Brian Lamb, Dan Jones on the second row. Brian Lamb last week, Milty, just had a tremendous race, led a ton of laps and quality laps, and I think settled for a maybe unsatisfying to him, but I believe a very quality top 10 finish. And really showed some muscle there, so I expect
qualifying
Lamb to be right there
big
as well.
too. And qualifying big too.
Absolutely.
His rise. He's just one of those guys that played the game way back in the day and then got away from it. Was doing life and then got back into it. And it's real easy to get discouraged when you race against professionals, sim racers, but he did not, and he has worked his way, and he has stayed the course, and every discipline of racing, he showed improvement, including road racing, especially, which really gets my attention, how much he's gotten better at that, and I think that's helped his whole game,
It looked like we saw our admin there, Ken Soska, stopped on the apron, and I think we got a problem here.
Yes, and we do, and we're going to have a restart here. Some kind of connection issue with one of the drivers before the start. As long as that green flag doesn't come out, they'll try to get guys lined up and going,
Yeah. And well,
there are no restarts at FSBRacing.com, and once that flag drops, then it is what it is, Even server crashes, but obviously this doesn't look like a server crash. It looks like trying to get somebody in before the start.
Well, we saw like I said, I saw Ken look like on the apron stopped while the rest of the field went by under the pacing lap there. So
he was probably getting something on the radio. Somebody tell him, look, I didn't get in, or I blinked out. Can you give me a restart? And
it looks like
it must be what he did.
Looks like we're gonna get underway now. I guess a call's gonna have to be made on qualifying now, Milty, as qualifying's been wiped out from this. We'll have to see what the admins gathered.
Yeah, once you go back, he needed to go back to happy hour or not practice.
Well, I guess the decision's going to have to be made if they're going to re-qualify, or if they're going to go right to a shotgun start here.
Well, I've broadcast here and in many other leagues. Yeah. I mean, this stuff happens. This is a huge undertaking of 25 guys, 30 guys, and computers all across.
No, it looks like we have our answer, Milty. Shotgun
like I told you boys in the meeting, we don't need anything over the top today. We got to get
Mark the Well, and
now we're back.
Yeah, it looks like we're not back. So we're maybe having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, I would go down there, but I think right now they don't need somebody else asking them questions. They're trying to figure this out, so we'll leave them alone.
Looks like we're gonna
see what we get here.
Looks like another attempt is gonna be made now. So let's get back onto the track if we can.
So to elaborate on that, I mean, who'd have thunk? I mean, I'm 54 years old. When I was playing with my little slot cars on my bedroom floor, then that was my dad. And of course, it was a Ferrari Ferrari. He didn't drive one of those cars, but I never thought it would be like
this. We don't need anything over the top today. We got a good race car, we got a good driver, we got a good pit crew. All we gotta do is
what
just
they
everybody
call-
carry the weight. We'll be
guess
just fine at the end
What
of
they
this
call
thing.
it, Milty, the
10-4.
shotgun start.
Yeah, it's like freaking old school Saturday night, and it's got me third, which is interesting because I'm not driving, so
Yeah,
that's
well,
gonna really screw things up.
well, they'll just the inside row will just move up one spot. So what it looks like we got here is Rick Bisconner and our new kid on the block there, Irvine. Milty on the outside pole now. Pops and I believe Jeff Hale will be on the second row. Ken Shea, Ryan Johnson, third row. And then Brian Lamb and Chet Barkin, fourth row, Milty. So definitely a pole by Ed Finley is gone by the wayside, Milty. And
Well,
you know,
he still got it. He still got it. It's still, his. But now, as a sim racer, I mean, if you were like a real racer and this happened, it would be like from the rain or whatever. But
I mean,
but this is sim racing. You never know what's going to happen, dude.
If this was going to happen at a real race, Milty, I think there might be some hot tempers from a pole sitter getting that taken away from him, knowing laps led and exposure for sponsors and all that stuff. What it involves.
Yep.
Probably wouldn't be many happy campers, but this is sim racing, Milty, and it's still, we're friends. We all know each other in this league.
We know that stuff happens, man.
Yeah,
it happens.
And things happen. So, shotgun start.
Well, regroup. You're a driver. You regroup right now.
Speedway racing, you can make up the positions if you drive it right. 80 laps, Milty, plenty of time. See the pace car coming around. See our field strung out there. Now, if you were, let's say, Ed, we can see Ed is kind of now buried in the back of the field now, Milty. You gotta keep your head about you as well now too, and not maybe risk a early maneuver that might end in heartache.
I think if I was Ed, I'd be like, you know what? That's probably where I'd rather start anyway, because it's pretty stressful up there in the front.
Yeah, so we see our flagmen there. We're gonna see a checkered flag, or excuse me, a green flag coming out, Milty. The pace car down onto the pit lane, and green flag is out, and we're gonna be underway here. A little delayed start there, but nonetheless, FSB Racing back on the air. Daytona.
The show must go on.
Friday nights.
Well, no Rick Johnson, no Matt Watkins. The former two champions not here tonight.
Yeah,
so
wide open for everyone here, Milty. Anyone could
this
be
is a chance for a
victory lane.
podium and get to talk to the great Greg Bernardo.
Yeah, that's a consolation prize at best.
Well, we sometimes our broadcasts have taken a dump. Sometimes, I mean, the things that have to happen to have this stuff work, crazy. And now it's, let's talk about that 9, Ken Hansen. We haven't seen him in a while, and
yeah, and we see a little mixing it up there toward the back of the pack. Single file, as you said, Milty, very quickly in the front. Rick Bisconner leading, Jeff Hale second, Ken Shea slotting into third there. Brian Lamb doing what he's been doing, man. And now he's feeling a little racy. He's on the outside of Ken Shea. Is he going to get some help? There's our newcomer, the 27 car. He's going to be pushing him. Let's see.
Well, everybody in and looking good connection-wise, and still about a 15-car field, so they're just kind of playing cat and mouse right here.
Yeah, we can see Irvine there giving a nice push to Brian, keeping that outside line moving, and really he's only lost about one position here, Milty. So the outside line can work if he's going to get some takers, and we can see Ken Hansen and T-Roy Ed trying to make that work. Now Lamb and Irvine duck down into the inside line. So,
well, you obviously see the 27's got skills already, but he's racing against guys that a lot of guys he hasn't raced against before. So, but he's got great car control. Knock on wood. Hate to jinx guys, but here he is in the spotlight. His first FSB race on Friday night, and he can roll, and he is pushing the 09.
Now we see the 43 car got shuffled by the inside line there, and now Rick is struggling way out onto the outside there, making it 3 wide as everyone ducking underneath him, making a middle row there.
Wow, well, from first place.
From the penthouse to the outhouse there, Milty. Could be a strategy move. Remember, Rick moving from Slim Sim racing to Bad Boy racing in the off season. And a lot of people thought that, he's trying to stir the pot here and lead him some laps, and now he's backed off, and maybe he's trying to get some fuel savings now, Milty, just getting in the draft there and taking it easy. You see Lamb now has really, with that outside line coming into play now, you can see Brian up to the door of Mark DeSenza, and you can see that outside line when they're all together, it really can work here.
Yeah, got plenty of time here. Don't have to worry about pit stops yet till about, probably 18 to 21.
Yeah, of course, Milty, we know with an 80-lap race, your magic number would be 20 to keep the pit stops to a minimum. An 18-lap stop would really put you behind the 8 ball if we do stay green. And right now, the way these guys are driving, very... not a lot of aggressive maneuvering just yet. But we can see that outside line now up to Ken Shea's door now. So Mark, the third place Mark DeSenza is now 6th place. Now Brian and Jeff Hale are basically side by side for the lead, and it looks like a 180-mile-an-hour pace lap, Milty.
Well, it looks that way, but it is difficult. As technology gets better, and I hurt my back this week working, so I've been on the couch a lot. I was watching Kurt Busch on a simulator on NASCAR America running, New Hampshire, and watching him spin the car, and I was like, I think I could take that guy, in NASCAR 2003. What's he doing spinning there, man? You know what I mean? But so, my point is that this is a lot like real racing. You're not getting the crap beat out of you. You're not smelling gas and oil, and you're not going to, it's a blood sport. But as far as what you see out of the cockpit and how you drive, it's very similar. And when you see the pros work these custom simulators, quite amazing.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we've been.
I had like a 13-inch screen. Oh, a little bump there. Yeah, it's the wall. I had a 13-inch screen with a little steering wheel and a folding chair, and I broke that thing a couple times with my fat ass.
Yeah, absolutely. Stuff has come amazingly long way in really a short period of time, if you ask me. But yeah, what we just saw there last lap, Milty, the 27 car maybe getting a little aero push there and slid up and kind of glazed the wall a little.
Let's take a look from his cockpit, because I can tell you exactly why that happened. Because you can't see doodly squat,
Yeah, let's ride with our newcomer Dan Irvine here as he negotiates a very tight pack.
My 7th grade basketball coach was Dan Irvine, was his name. Mr. Irvine, we called him, and we used to ride in a Toyota pickup, and of course we weren't very good. But okay, let's take a look here. This is what you're seeing right here. You got that mirror, you got your spotter.
While you're only pushing 6,500 RPM here, Milty, they're still doing, as we can see, about 190 miles an hour as they go through the flyover.
You have to almost look through that car. It's even worse when you're on the bottom line and you're trying to hit that apex point. But that's why you saw him drop off a little bit. And the caution is out.
I did see a car in front of him. And we see a smoking car there. That's Perry Bond in the 60 car, Milty. So
that's not what they were looking for. Perry has won some races and run well, and he was looking to do good tonight.
Looks like it caught up more than just Perry. So let's take another look at this, Milty. Here we see the 60 going into the turn. And we see some, looks like Ryan Johnson and Pops a little out of shape there on the inside line, Milty. There's contact with the back of Pops' car by Ryan on the inside line first. And it looks like that spun those cars around and Pops up the track hard into the 60 car. And looks like it wiped out Sean Reap and the 007 Dan Jones also involved. Dan going for a big time ride in the grass there.
Yeah, they got into it below the 60 and bam, they came up into him, and it was Ryan Johnson, I think, was on the inside there, or maybe it was Dan Jones.
Yeah, it looked like Ryan made contact with the back of Pops' car, got Pops out of shape going into the turn there, Milty. And then it was on from there. Pops up the track hard into the 60 car, who then hard into the wall. So that's the worst of both worlds if you're the 60, Milty. You get blasted on the one side by the car and then blasted by the wall on the other side. Have to think he's done for the night. And the 60 is out due to accident. So unfortunately, Perry's night ending much too early in 17th position.
Well, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail, and he was minding his own business, and that's Daytona right there. You come into this race knowing that can happen to you, but you got to still stick it in there and stay side by side and hope it don't,
Yeah, and I think, and when you're not part of the initial incident, Milty, sometimes those are the hardest accidents to walk away from as you sit there and your night's over after 10 laps of a race that you're expecting to be there for an hour for. Those are the empty feeling ones. When you mess up on your own and you wreck, you can say, well, it's all on me. But when it's not on you, those are the hard ones.
Yeah, Jim Ray always told me to look back in my career, remember those times when I made a mistake, and always remember it can happen to you, and you could be the one that happens to someone else, and
oh yeah,
always take that in perspective and shake it off, and good thing it's not real, because old Pop's there, he's been through some kidney stone stuff, and if it was real, that'd be a hard lick. So you reset here, and that changes everything. That moves them into a secondary fuel mode here.
Yeah, it looks like we have Jeff Hale as our leader, Ken Shea second. Some elected to pit, I think some maybe didn't. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But the 29 is our leader, 91 second. Mark DeSenza third in the 6 car. And Ken Hansen showing fourth.
Well, here's the $1 million question. Is Ken Shea going to be able to run every race this season? He won last week, and he's capable of being a champion, but I mean, everybody's got lives, and he generally runs when he can and doesn't run when he can. Is this going to be the season where he puts it together and decides to run these 20 races and he could be champion?
You're absolutely right, Milty. I mean, really, when you look at the guys that have run on, we'll say, a regular basis, but maybe not a full season. Realistically, probably a dozen guys in this series could be the champion if all ran a 20 race season.
Well, that's the great thing about FSB. It just rolls on, and you never know what's going to happen. But 14 years in running, pretty impressive.
I believe my first ever FSB Cup win, Milty, was at Daytona. I believe it was the regular Daytona, not the BR track, but fond memories of that. Stayed out and caught a timely caution and stretched my fuel mileage and did a little quick stop and go with no tires and managed to hold on the charging pack behind me for my first win. So fond memories of FSB and Daytona.
Well, I mean, those are you just never forget that stuff,
And it's easy to remember, Milty. I only have 2 FSB Cup wins, so it's pretty easy to remember both of them.
They're exciting is why you show up and why you still show up broadcasting and what you've been doing in other racing series too. I mean, you're really becoming a stud. So it's that perseverance, and I mean, you almost race every night. It's crazy.
Well, it's a muscle memory kind of thing, and the more you do it, the better you get, whether you like it or not. And if you keep driving around quality drivers, it just rises everything up around you, including your own game. So these guys that put in the time week in, week out, like we said, like Rick Bisconner, Milty, 4, 5, 6 seasons ago, he was a guy that, maybe ran up front for a few laps and then he, maybe wreck out or not be there at the finish. And
now
he's worked on his
eating
game.
hay.
Now he's a threat to win pretty much every week here in the Winston Cup Series, and he's a very big asset to teams like that. So it definitely shows that if you work on your game, no matter what game that is, you're gonna pay dividends. And he's a perfect example there. And right now we got some veterans at the front, Milty. So what's new and what's old is new again. Jeff Hale, Ken Shea, Mark DeSenza, very familiar names here at FSB. 1, 2, 3 right now. Ken Hansen on that outside line, Slim on the inside line there, battling for 4th position.
Yeah, that top 5 is $100 bill and experience, easy. So.
Yeah, these guys, and any one of them can really dominate a race, and we've seen it through the years here, Milty, when Jeff Hale just has his game razor sharp and he just leads laps and wins races and sits on poles, and we just marvel at it. And then all of a sudden we'll see Slim just have one of those races where he just comes from the back, passes everyone 5 times in the race and wins the race, and we wonder about, damn, how, that's amazing. And the list goes on. It's not one guy who's, when he shows up, everyone else can go home. That's not the way it is here. Cat
and mouse here.
Yeah, Yeah, the veterans know where their bread is buttered, Milty. That's the inside line. That's lined up. That's not racing, saving tires and fuel for a green flag stop. And that's what they're, I'm sure, wanting to do, and they don't want to race. But guys are also hungry, Milty, to get up to the front, lead laps, maybe dictate the pace a little. And you're always going to have those guys versus the, let's just turn some lap guys.
Well, I mean, sim racing, NASCAR 2003 at Daytona, you gotta be everybody. You gotta be Rick Hendrick. You gotta be Chad Knaus. You gotta be Jimmy Johnson. Three wide. Oh boy, he's forcing his.
Yeah, Lamb
way
pushing
in
the
there.
issue there way up high. Mark DeSenza deciding maybe he wants to hang out on that high side there. But now it looks like it's calmed down. Boy, that was a little nervous time there for Ken
by the
Shea,
way,
and again
you gotta
a
drive.
challenge. And now Ken kind of the only car in the middle here.
He's in the sucker hole now. Who's gonna go with him? They're trying to figure it out. They got cars dropping down.
And there's contact.
Oh, and there's contact. Troy Knoll gets around, but I think he got hit, and that's a good save for the Stockton, California native there.
Yeah, Ken Shea sliding down pit lane.
But a lot of good pieces went around there.
Brian Lamb around and some damage there to the right side of the car. Spoiler looks all right. I don't think
I
Brian
didn't,
was doing that.
man. I didn't like that.
I didn't like it either. It went Milty, and then it settled down, and then they, instead of them accepting, well, okay, that was a little too much too soon, they went right back at it. And that's like the kid with the hot stove, isn't it, Milty? He reaches
like
up and you say, don't, you will burn yourself. And then you turn away, and then he screams, because what did he do? He touched the hot stove.
Yeah, or if you're in a bar and you bump into somebody accidentally, and you say sorry, and he says, something else, what's your choice here? Maybe I can back off and finish later, or we're gonna have a fight right now,
Yeah. And
what would you rather do?
Well, if I'm out with my lady, I gotta be the discretion is better part of valor guy. If it was with my, if I was in a bad mood, that might not.
Back
might
when
not
you were
end that way.
when you were in the army, I'm sure.
But I'm a.
Well, what do you do here? They're sniffing around. Some guys are pitting, some aren't. I would pit. You don't need tires. You need fuel. Get track position with the guys that got most fuel here, and try to, especially if you're in the back of this pack coming in.
We see T-Roy.
Got to do something different. 007.
Yeah, I think
he's getting tires.
Slim took your advice. He was in and out. Jeff Hale in and out.
No tires. No tires. Heck with that.
So those three.
Get
no
by
tires.
These guys right now.
Dan Jones coming out, then T-Roy and Ryan.
4 tires for the 27 sitting there on pit road.
Well, it's lap 20, Milty. So really, if this was a green flag stop, you'd be taking 4 tires and fuel. So
yeah, maybe later maybe later he'll take no tires or 2 to the finish.
The more times you take 4 tires early on, Milty, is the better chance of you taking no tire, 2 tire later on. You start doing 2 tire now, you kind of set that wheel in motion where you're going to have to take 4 sometimes, whether you like it or not. So maybe outsmarting the field right now. 27 car sitting in 7th place, but he's going to start right where he needs to. There's some damaged cars now that may not be as fast, so he'll be able to take advantage of that as well. So maybe some good strategy there by the 27.
I have to see if the 6 has damage. I know the 17 got by. I think the 6 got a lick there. I don't know. Brian Lamb, disappointing, and I'm sure he'll be disappointed. But the way I always look at it is, where was I when it went bad, and he was up at the front. So that's something to build on, you know. And you know, he ain't going away. You know, he'll be up here next week battling.
Definitely.
And he's at the point now where he can get a win, and more than just ovals like this.
We do see some cars electing to.
I'd love to see a road race in Winston Cup, you know.
Yeah, well, you know.
Because he would run good, you know.
I know that traditionally there has not been road races in the Winston Cup. And there's a little contact between Ken and Lamb in pit lane, Milty, and that's.
Woo! Will Lamb be able to? Is he kicked out of his stall there, or will they service him? Got to back it up.
Yeah, he took his time. It's under caution. It's Daytona.
Wow.
No, take a deep breath. No harm, no foul.
There you
tires.
go.
Little
One time I did that, and I was coming in, and Rick Johnson spun me all the way around, and we were looking cockpit to cockpit, and we both drive cockpit. Of course, it wasn't face to face, but I popped the clutch and turned it left and spun it around and ended up right in my pit stall. And the great champion Rick Johnson said, we were teammates. He's like, that's the best thing I've ever seen in sim race. I couldn't have done that if 1,000 times, right, if I had 1,000 times.
Right, the more likely scenario being you spin around and take both of you out.
Absolutely, but we were staring face to face. I don't remember what happened in the race, but that was pretty much, we were both like, wow, I can't believe I just saw that. And I was like, I can't believe I just did that. Well, and you never know. These races, any moment you could see that. Every race is different. You watch our broadcasts going back and the years of FSB, always great racing. And we got cars down pit road again.
Yeah, with the lights still on the pace car, they're making strategic decisions now. Remember, lap 20, that's a magic number here, Milty, if there is green. And with now, you know, cars falling out of the race and not being part of the lead pack, more chance of green flag racing as well, Milty. So, you know, these veterans are thinking about all these things.
And Slim with the pop and drop. And and the 59 of Ryan Johnson misses his stall. That's what it. When you know, every time you go down pit road, man, you got to execute. And man, it's hard, man.
And now with the lights,
he lost track position there. And Slim, you know, even though he was the stop and drop with no tires the last time, he came back in and still topped it off and still beat the top offers. So. Yeah, here he come.
Yeah, so now that gave up the lead, Jeff Hale, and that pack give up that lead part of the pack. Now Ed Finley will lead the procession, back where he should be, Milty. Remember, Ed sat on our official pole, then some technical issues wiped out that pole, but like we said, everyone knows who ran that best lap, and that's that 80 car. So he's back at the front. 007 Dan Jones was starting on the outside pole, and now he's back in as well.
And T. Roy, Stocktown, California.
Yeah, looks like.
Hey, you know, Ed. Wow, you know, come on, buddy. This is his wheelhouse, folks. Yeah, he's won races in multiple different types of disciplines, but all those were, you know, super speedways. This is his thingamajig here. Come on, son.
Pace car off. 80 gonna lead him down. Dan Jones, T. Roy.
Oh, T. Roy gets a little love tap.
Yeah, something.
Oh, no, 3 wide there.
Something's going on. Maybe a gear busted there, Milty. Going through the
no passing into the back straight, but also you also got to be
a little wider view here. Man, that was almost. That was almost a disaster at the restart there. Something happened. There was a puff of smoke from one of the cars. I don't know if that was spinning the tires or a gear, but it looks like they've sorted themselves out. Ed continuing to lead, Dan behind him, but now that outside line trying to immediately make its presence felt, and that's T-Roy who's going to maybe lead a lap here, Milty.
Come on, T-Roy!
And he's
going all at the line. He's your leader.
That's right.
The Fireball Ford.
Put that Fireball
Stockton,
Ford,
California native.
On the point here, and he's getting the challenge from the outside on the 27 car of Irvine. And then Finley and Ken Hansen making up that second row now. Again, side by side, two deep racing here. And Mark DeSenza's car right up there again. So Mark DeSenza's crew doing a fabulous job. Remember, Mark was caught up in that wreck earlier, and it looked like it was a pretty violent wreck there for him. But the crew did a fabulous job. That's why he runs those Wrangler colors. Those guys know how to fix a car, man. And he's right back up there, and it looks very competitive to me.
Dan Irvine in the lead. The Miller Buick running well, using that outside line. They got mano a mano right now, and on BR tracks, that outside line gets to going.
It is, and he's got some great pushers behind him. And Ken Hansen, Mark DeSenza, Rick Bisconner, Jeff Hale. Gee, I'm running out of breath. The Slim, that's a tremendous outside line there, but he's elected.
Oh, T-Roy on the bottom, and he saves it.
Yeah, it looked like maybe T-Roy
that was
got
huge
a
there. That
little
could have
surprise
wiped out
there.
the
Ken
field
Hansen
there. Wow.
sliding off the wall there as well. So it looked like the 27 there just trying to maybe block, well, maybe the wrong word there, not really blocking, but just trying to work both lines there and maybe startled T-Roy that he came down off his nose like that, Milty.
Well, knowing T-Roy, the big...
Just take a
big
shot
boy,
and he'll settle you down.
A little bit of Fireball, but can this dude cook chicken?
In front of T-Roy.
He wants to cook some chicken tonight. He ain't going back down. No, I guarantee.
And, you know, T-Roy's a nice guy, and we all know that. And he's a good driver, we all know that. But he gets a little... If fire him up here, Milty, and might see a serious T-Roy.
Fireball, you know, that's...
Fireball him up there.
That whiskey is so freaking tasty. Oof. I mean, it's sinful, man. It really is. A couple shots of that, and you're like, whoop, whoop.
Yeah,
but you're like, I
get sim racing for sure.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, right now, our newcomer, Irvine, leading the procession. T-Roy second, Ed third, Dan Jones fourth, Jeff in fifth. Then Slim, Mark DeSenza, Ken Hansen. Everyone now single file down onto the inside. Sean there, remember, was involved in a wreck there. I think he's fallen out of this pack. Ken Soska, Ken Shea, Rick Bisconner making up the tail end of this lead pack here. Remember, Ken Shea elected to top up Milty.
Yeah, and that's... Thing is, if you're going to top up, you're going to top up with a couple other guys, so you got somebody to draft with, because the rest of these guys pit. And the only other thing is you can pit when they do, and your fuel stop will take less time than theirs.
You might be able to steal a couple positions.
And you'll still get the draft, plus you might be able to make it past that next stop if the caution comes out.
Yeah, and we can see right now he's electing to stay behind the 07 Ken Soska. Ken was also involved in that wreck. So I don't know if Ken has maybe a little damage. He could have just a slightly slower car.
Yeah, he wants to get by him. He wants to get by him.
So that was a good move by Ken today. And he's going to stay up with the faster cars, and that's what he's going to need to do. He cannot lose his draft.
Yeah, you got to know these other guys aren't damaged, and they're loaded for bear.
And single file now, so a mistake or side-by-side racing in the back, you can lose touch with those single file guys as well. So right now we see Rick Bisconner, Ken Hansen side by side. Ken Shea pushing that inside with Ken Hansen. Oh, and there's contact! And Rick is around, I think. Will we have a caution? No, it's a green flag still. It looks like Rick is going to park the car here, Melty. And he did. So it looks like Rick's out of the race. Ken has now in danger of losing the draft, but everyone else continues. So we've lost one of our drivers from this lead pack. Look, some contact there, and Rick headed to the outside wall.
But it's still green. Oh, wow.
Yeah, bad break for him, no caution. So as we go back to the front, we can see checking speeds here, Milty, that 190 is just pegged here with the restrictor plate, 191 for Dan Irvine going into the turn there. So you can see these guys are going extremely fast. You can see he's turning just 3/10 off the fastest lap times as well, Milty. So these guys are moving right now. And Dan looking very smooth in the front, very comfortable, isn't he, Milty?
Well, I mean, he's relying on racing these guys. I don't know what he's done since, like during the week. Maybe he's run some other races, and but I mean, you just basically got to do what you do. And so, I mean, he's trusting the FSB regulars, longtime veterans behind him to do what they do, and he's going to race like it is, and it's just flowing real well. When you got a pro driver and you see it instantly, like I did, it's all about the race now. He's not thinking about what league he's in or whatever. He's got guys all over his tail, and
no, I think he's
they're skillful.
Fuel mileage right now, Milty.
Absolutely, yeah.
About 10 laps into the green run here. Like you said, about 18 to 21 laps. So already halfway through.
And you want to get past that 40 mark,
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure he's thinking as well, if guys pit behind me, what do I do? Do I pit the next lap immediately? Do I have to make sure other guys go with me? When you're the newcomer, you may not get a lot of love there, Milty, in the super speedway race. It's all about your friends.
Well, I mean, I'm a broadcaster. I'm supposed to know who's on what team. I can't tell you half the time, Just like Slim and Jeff Hale are still on the same team. I kept saying they weren't. So, no.
Yeah, Slim, Jeff Hale on the same team, and they're running right behind each other as well. So there's a lot of talk being exchanged between the two. The rest of these guys, Milty, are kind of on their own as far as teams are concerned. It's kind of like one guy for each team up here, besides Jeff and Slim. So maybe advantage to them. At least they know they can pit together. The rest of these guys are going to have some cooperation. And very difficult to communicate unless you jump back into the racing channel and hope that some of these guys are in there and you can maybe do your own strategizing.
Well, you've got to watch everybody around you. You're going 190 miles an hour, and you've also got to be flipping switches telling you either on your steering wheel or keyboard or a button box and telling you how much time you have left before you got to pit, because you got to be crew chief too.
Yeah, you're.
You got to be Jeff. You got to be Jeff Burton, and you got to be I can't remember his name. Dale Jr.'s old crew chief. You gotta figure that out and do it on your own.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And right now, you're looking at tire wear. Can I? If my tires are still nice and green, I can maybe not take tires, fuel only, right sides only. You're going to have to take the fuel. Do you take 4 tires? Does it slow you down? Maybe a little. So all these things you got to start thinking about. I think the guys that took 4 tires, including Dan Irvine, Milty. Remember, we saw him take those 4 tires early on at lap 20. So he's got fresh tires for just this one run. Will he keep them on there?
Well, you don't want to come out by yourself where everybody else is in a line, so regardless, he's got to retrace his strategy and make sure that he picks up some friends, you know.
Absolutely. And this pack, this 9-car pack, Milty, has been very tight this whole time, with Ken Shea really being disciplined in the back of the pack, not losing touch with the draft, probably saving some fuel back there.
You know what I'd like to see is, you know, I drive in-car. I'd love to see an in-car from one of these guys when they have to pit and how they pick their lanes. This is where the men are separated from the boys. This is going to determine this race, barring any cautions here.
This could be a very defining point, especially for our Winston Cup rookie there leading the race.
Yeah, teammates talk to each other. He's new, so he's probably on the main channel. In fact, he is. But there's a lot of guys on there, so they're going to be talking about what.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe not. It's like, when you guys going to pit?
Yeah, sometimes when you say something like
it's silence.
Milty, yeah, you're treated to dead air for many, many minutes, and then you realize, you know what, they're trying to win a race here.
It's not tiddlywinks.
No, it's not. And, you know, giving out information after the race, you see very many guys willing to share some info.
That's how I beat your butt.
Not so much.
Well, I did this. That's why you lost.
Right.
What are they going to do? Let's take a look at the scanner.
Lap 38, Milty.
Okay.
Got to be a few laps away from some green flag stops here. This
not yet.
9-car draft in the lead, and then let's take a look. 10th through 12th there on a different agenda on the lead lap. The rest of these cars are out of the race from some racing incidents.
You know, track position is everything. Even if you have an advantage, if you come out by yourself, it could be tough. If you got a teammate that also did the same thing, then you might want to try to go an extra lap. You're waiting for these guys to signal. You don't have a gas gauge, so you got your fuel pressure gauge.
Yeah,
and usually once it goes to 6, you probably make 2 laps.
You can see now they're bearing down on a couple of the slower
1 lap, excuse me.
Ryan Johnson, who were involved in that incident earlier, so they're slowed down from voltage, and now the field is approaching them. They moved up high to give them plenty of room.
They're racing for points, so they want to get out of here. Cars are still pretty much decent, but they want to get out of here and load the car up and go to the next one. Long season, so all about that championship.
Absolutely. So looks like they've successfully navigated Ryan and Sean.
Leader is coming in, 27, pit, box.
We'll see how many takers come with them now, Milty.
A double text, which I would have done the same thing. Ryan Johnson already in, but what are the T-Roy's going to go with him? 007, Dan Jones. I got a text.
Here with Dan as he
here we
gets
go.
off the apron, approaching.
This is what you see when you go. You look to your left and use that building right about when it gets to your left
conservative
quarter.
There, Milty.
Yeah, it was a little conservative, but safe.
And now you got to find your pit box. Sometimes it's hard to find that pit box, Milty. Where is it? Where's my crew? There they are.
Well, you have to keep that in mind, and they're wagging their tails at you.
Oh, he's going left sides, Milty. Left sides. fuel going in. He's waiting. He's waiting. For
You
that
got to
fuel.
make sure when you come out that you don't
Cars are
cross
coming.
that white line. Cross the yellow one there, you see.
And it looks like that conservative entry, Milty, may have cost him. As Dan gets out in front of him.
Here comes the 007.
But he jumped out and makes the pass on Dan. Wow.
That's early right there. I don't know if your spotter, if that's going to give him a black flag or not.
Wow.
Generally, they ask you about another 300-400 feet before you can get out.
Yeah, well, that remains to be seen right now, Milton. Let's jump back out because there's still some green flag stops going on here. That was the first of them right there with Irvine, T-Roy, and Dan Jones.
How about the 17 of T-Roy?
Solid.
He's won, just about everything. Long career.
And here comes the rest of the pack, Milty, that came
But
in.
he needs a Winston Cup win. Something I don't have, and let's see if he can get one. Oh, wait, excuse me, I don't have a broadcast win. I have a couple Winston Cup wins, sorry.
And we can see there's the three cars of Dan, T-Roy, and Dan. The Dan and Dan sandwich of T-Roy there, Milty. And there's Ken Shea that came in the lap after, and they're going to get around him. So Ken, I think, did a pretty good job there, though.
Absolutely. That was a great move.
And now those four cars can now run down the next ones up in front of them, which are Ed Finley and Mark DeSenza, and form one more group again. Great stops by the whole field, it looks like here, Milty.
It's
and
Bro Simmers, and these guys are good,
Dan not
man.
satisfied here. He's pushing the issue on the outside with Mark DeSenza on the inside. Slim right out in front from his stop. He's going to probably need to get up to momentum, though, Milty, with Jeff Hale. So they'll probably lose ground as well, and it looks like Dan's going to reassume this lead. Irvine, that is. Not Bond.
Well, but Bond's right there. Jump on,
James
Bond. James Bond.
Of course. We can interchange. He drives like James Bond, so you forget sometimes.
What do you like to drink, Bond? James Bond? Excuse me, I have about 45 minutes here, so better get busy.
Shaken, not stirred. And let's bring up our scorecard here, Milty. Lap 44, stops are complete. Back in the lead is Dan Irvine. T-Roy second, Dan Jones third, Mark DeSenza fourth, and Ed Finley fifth. This pack of 9 cars has now shed one. It looks like Ken Hansen, Milty, is the loser here. He's 4 seconds back, so he must not have had the stop that he needed to have there, Milty. And this group of 8 killed it, really. All quality stops. We saw Irvine there taking the 2 left sides, Milty, as we sat with him in pit lane. And you can see how nerve-wracking it is sitting there, revving the engine, going, hurry up, put that fuel in, man. Looking at the pit lane cars getting bigger and bigger in your mirror as you're sitting there helplessly.
All this stuff's going through your mind as well as if your strategy was correct, and then you got to deal with drivers on the track, And
we see 10th place car Ken Soska going a lap down there. Ken, of course, a little off the pace with some damage. Maybe he can hold on to this draft here. And
well, this was a tough night for him. He had, had to deal with all the admin duties, which are huge, and things kind of went awry a little bit. Of course, now we got a race, and but that takes your focus away. I've been an admin before and several times, and fortunately, I had easier series to try to administrate than these, and that takes away your focus as a driver. And tonight, I think that's pretty much along with getting caught up in that wreck, it's just, he's going to salvage points and move on. But he's going to be here every week in that Gatorade Monte Carlo. But it's, when you talk about a league like this and with the rules and the, you have to be special to be able to stay here and race. And that's not just about being the fastest guy. It's about your sportsmanship and how you behave, how you handle yourself. It's a total package.
Yeah, I mean, we've had guys in this.
Definitely.
I mean, we all know, and especially you being here much longer than myself, that when they first came here and just between me and you talking about them, just going, man, this guy is good, man. Where'd he come from? And then, through a series of circumstances, mistakes are made, and those fast, really good drivers are now not here because, there's rules to follow, and the speed on the track or the quality of a win doesn't factor into the number.
Well, there still are world-class drivers here in this race, and we've proved that before. And they've raced in other, disciplines of racing in leagues and stuff, and like long-distance races where multiple leagues have been invited, including ourselves, and ran well. But they've also got that X factor, which, is behaving well when things don't go right for you. It's a competitive series here. These guys, speaking of competitive, they kind of backed it off here a little bit, and they know they're playing crew chief too, so they know the scenario. Things looking green, smelling green. Grass is green out there.
Yeah, a lot of
probably
green.
Gonna be green. So
winter gets a lot of green.
Guess what? You got your foot to the metal right now, but then you're gonna have to make that pit stop again.
Oh yeah, and
get that track position.
And not only that, it's coming up again. These cars are what's DW like to say sometimes? They're hauling the mail.
Hauling the mail.
I mean, we see 190, 191 lap after lap after lap, and when they're single file like these laps tick off real quick. Now the question is, if I'm in this lead pack here, I'm already convinced that there's not going to be a caution. So I have to, like you said, make sure I pit with other cars, that I do not speed or do anything dumb entering pit lane, and that when I get my service put out, I again don't make a mistake speeding or getting into a scrape with another car trying to beat me out. Let them beat me out, get right behind them, start drafting, and then you can sort yourself out once you're up the speed.
Well, you know what you know best. I'm a tile setter. Shout out to Vice Tile. Boom, boom. And I can tell in 5 minutes if I see a guy and he's not going to cut the mustard, and I mean, it's pretty simple, when you've been doing something for a long time, and these guys have been doing something for a long time, and that's sim racing, and you see that 27, I knew in 5 minutes, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, it's that fast.
The laps start moving up, and you realize, man, is it because T-Roy is following, or is T-Roy just saying, there's nothing more I can do here except just follow him, because as soon as I step out, I'm gonna be left behind. So
this is 53 of 80. I mean, this is plate racing. It's the way it is. When you watch our last week broadcast, which is a great broadcast, and he did a great job. And so did our top three and the field. And this is a whole different track. Here, you just got to get in line, and you got to play Noah's Ark here, and all 2x2, and you know, deal with what you got, and that is, I'm with this lead pack, and you know, I'm pitting when they do. Yeah, I've got to execute that better and get track position.
And we've seen in both weeks, Milty, the necessity of being the first to pit and not the last. Last week, if we recall, Matt Watkins, maybe the greatest FSB driver of all time.
Yeah, I would say that.
Elected to stretch some mileage, I think, trying to stay safe for the end. But what it did was it killed his momentum with the fast guys that came in and came back out with fresh tires. And in the end, when Matt did elect to go in and come out, he was half a lap behind the fast guys and never recovered because it never had a caution. And, you know, you see a great driver like that, you know, kind of made us say, man, I wonder what he was thinking there. But you see it again here with Dan and T-Roy and Dan Jones all electing to pit first. And now they're 1, 2, 3 again. You have to know those things if you're in this field. And if Dan, again, signals to pit, I have to pit with him now, Milty, don't I?
Absolutely, especially your T-Roy. It's simplified now.
But if I'm Ken Shea, do I pit with the lead group now and not do the thing I did last time? I want to win this race. Can I win it from 6th if I go another lap?
Can you communicate with the 29, the 25, and the 7? Well, 7's a lap down, but you know, are you guys going to go with me?
Yeah, see, Milty, I wouldn't. I would if I'm Ken right there. My car's good. I've been racy basically all race long. I'm pitting with these leaders now, and I'm going to try to hook up with the 007 and get on the back bumper of him when we come out of the race. I can guarantee you that the top 3 will all pit together like they did last time because they got the results. And looking at our scoring here,
Ken Shea falling back on purpose.
Yeah, it looks like Jeff Hale, Slim, and Ken Sopsa going up on the high side. If they
stop and he doesn't, he's in a world of hurt, man. Got to stop with them, but he's also trying to, okay, let me pick my spot here.
We're on 57 of 80, so still outside the window here. I would suspect we saw Dan coming in about right on, I believe, lap 39 he came in on. So I would expect to see him in the next couple laps here.
That's still scary. They were not quite there. Got to stop at least at 59 and then try to stretch to the last bit.
And you know, when you lead the race, Milty, sometimes you burn just a little more fuel with in the air. And you know, that could definitely come into play here as we're getting close to the window.
27, yep.
Yeah, well, I had to talk to him. I didn't talk to him.
Really sitting in the catbird seat here.
But he should have known I was last.
What have I missed?
Wrong channel, Isaac.
No, I came to the right place.
Okay, Isaac Johnson.
I've been working. So I missed the race, but I figured I'd come say hello.
Well, nice of you.
How you doing, sir?
Come join us here. Yeah, we got a great race on our hands. Looking forward to
looking at pit stops here. Are you watching this, man?
Yeah, I'm on. I mean, I have my dad keep me logged in.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's too late to start racing, so I figured, hey, I'm just gonna get in the broadcast booth and see what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
See how
we're ready for our final green flag stops. It looks like in any time now. Newcomer Dan Irvine, really.
Yeah, he's leading.
leading.
He's leading.
And
You run
led
against
probably
him this
about
week,
40
Sunday?
laps or so here.
We're
no,
seeing him for the first time.
I haven't gotten a chance to run with him at all. I've raced 2 races this week because I've just been so busy. I mean, I went racing Sunday, and then I had work on the past 2 days, and I've just been getting my go-kart and everything ready for this weekend. So I've just been slammed. So
Wow, yeah, that's awesome, man.
but
Definitely.
it looks like he's doing a hell of a job.
Yeah, he sure is, and he's just very smooth and keeping the car very steady on that inside line. He hasn't really budged from it, and no one has been able to get around him. And we're on hitting lap 60 here, and here we go.
watching the scanner. Nobody
And just those
said
3
anything.
again.
They did not
Those
report there.
Those 3
Okay,
again,
17
Milty.
then. Okay, I'm sorry. I missed that.
Dan
My
Jones
bad.
in, T-Roy in. Let's
Well, they
follow.
both smoked the 27 there.
Yeah, again, a conservative
If they were
entry, Milty.
illegal.
He's been conservative both times. It's cost him a position last time, but he gained it
Yes. The wins I've had at Daytona usually have been better off conservative, and
back. Right sides only for the 27. And there goes Dan again out in front of him. So Dan wins the battle twice. Dan Jones, that is Jones.
Now, he doesn't want to get too far out there because Dan Irvin might be able to get a good run
Yeah, that's what happened
and be able
last
to
time.
shoot right on by him. Yeah,
But this time, Dan Jones
he launched by
really
him this
got
time. He's
got
way
a
out
great
there.
pit stop. But yeah, he's going to need those 2 guys to gather him up to keep him competitive. And all
Now-
3 with good pit stops there.
If I was Dan Irvine right now, I would almost, well, I mean, he's catching them now, but I would almost have wanted to drag the brake a little bit and get back to the 17 and then be able to get a good run on the 007.
And here comes the rest of the field
have
out,
this-
Milty. Ken Shea
have
making a nice
have
move
the 17 drag you in front of them.
Do what?
Have the 17 make a move and you follow the 17.
No, just drag back to where the 17 won't be able to make a move on me, but he'll be able to give me a push past the 007, you know what I mean? It's just like
Okay.
enough to where he'll be able to like catch my draft, but he did that perfectly. I couldn't tell about how far away he was, so. But that was about as perfectly as he could have done that.
And we see the guys who came in the lap after, Jeff Hale, Ken Hansen with a great move there. Ken Shea with an aggressive move, Milty. He did move up a couple positions. He's got Slim on his back bumper. They're going to get around Ken Hansen now. He's going to have to fall in line. But are the rest of those fast guys? Where are they? There's Dan Jones. There's T-Roy. And there's Dan Irvine, who gets around both of them again, Milty. So Dan doing what he needs to do. And now let's see with the momentum if they can catch that other pack. And here they come.
Well, what are you going to say about the 17 crew tonight? Nailing all the pit stops. Magical night. All they got to do is finish this thing off, man.
Yeah, but now definitely seeing that Jeff Hale, Ken Shea, Slim, and Ken Hansen really must have had the stops of the race here, Milty. They got
Mark
2
DeSenza got a
seconds lead.
penalty.
Mark DeSenza back in the pits with a penalty. And that will end his night. Ed Finley in 4th, but coming back to that 3-car group there. I think maybe doing a little Isaac's advice there, just dragging the brake a little so he can get back in a draft and see if he can run down the other top 4 cars. But
nobody's
they got a head
win.
of steam, man, and Ed could not get in front of him there.
Whoa!
So now,
Well,
it looks like we got a
the great
3-car.
run that the 27 had, welcome to FSB.
Yeah, with
Because these guys
Jeff
nailed
Hale.
this shit.
Yeah, Jeff Hale, Ken Shea and Slim now are the three
No, my
cars. Looks like
teamies.
Ken Hansen may have had also a penalty. He's
Well,
still
they're all
one lap down now.
They're pushing the envelope. I mean, you have to. In this league, these guys are on it from the flag drop to flag drop, man.
There's our 4-car group. They're about 2.6 seconds off our leader. That's Jeff Hale. But they do have Ken Hansen in this pack. So Ken a 1 lap down with this group, and that's a big help for them, man.
Who dat? Who dat 29 in the lead?
You can see they shaved a couple tenths off Milty, so that back 4-car pack is slightly faster than the lead pack. And
They got no choice here. They have to get in line and work together,
really,
or they have no chance.
Really impressed with Dan Irvine here, man. He had very conservative entries. You know, when you're maybe not in a competitive league and you just show up, while you might be a really skilled driver, what's the hardest thing, Milty? Those green flag stops.
Oh, those stops, man. It's everything.
And I think he knew that, so he said, you know what, I'm not going to push the issue and spin the car. I'll be conservative.
But you'd
really
rather
paid
do
off.
that. It has, you know. And especially when you're coming in a new league, you'd like to get a top 5 or maybe a podium, but you don't want to throw it away by trying to do more than you normally do, you know. Execute. It's all about execution.
Yeah, and they're coming. They're 1.9 now, so they're taking about a half second off each lap.
I'm wanting Rick to show up.
Man, this is going to be a crazy finish.
Jeff Hale, Slim, teammates, Ken Shea,
I might not.
the wild card at the front there for him. What's he thinking? And now he's got to know that 4-car group is going to be catching him very soon, and maybe he needs to hitch his wagon to those guys and see if they can get around Jeff Hale and Slim.
Who do you guys got?
I'm gonna go with the new guy, man.
The new guy?
I'm impressed. I think he knows what he's doing. I think he has a plan, and I think he's gonna put it into place right here, and we're gonna see what he's got. I'm gonna go with the 27.
I just need to know what I
Who
need.
you got? Milty.
I think different. I think it's probably a ratio thing. Maybe
Tell that
I got an
that
old wheel.
59 card. He's not competitive, so you know keep the voice down
and I
in
had.
the broadcast here.
I know I.
Yeah, he's not competitive at all tonight. What happened to him?
He got wrecked out.
I've got it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's
He got
super
wrecked
loud.
out. And now we see this group of cars now all together. So we have 7 cars in this group with Ken Hansen 1 lap down in the mix for a little flavor. Hey Isaac, if you're the 1 lap down car in the Hornets, do you just try to just stay on the back bumper of the car in front of you, or do you give way and let him?
If it's towards the if it's early on in the race, then I'm gonna try and race to get my lap back. If I think that there's a chance that there's gonna be a caution, but whenever it's coming down to this and there's this many cars, then I just drop to the tail of the pack and ride it out. Unless one of my teammates was up there, then I'd try and help one of my teammates. But I don't know if he's on a team or what he's gonna do. So
Yeah.
we'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, the car looks very competitive with the rest of the cars around them, so certainly not holding anyone up. But you know, with this pack racing, you know that little gap there makes a big difference sometimes.
Yeah,
so
I gotta watch
see
it.
how that goes. Dan Jones, Ed Finley, Dan Irvine, and T-Roy there in that second group of cars going around Mark DeSenza now, who got that penalty and had to drive around the track by himself.
Who's going to go out to the outside line? That's...
You gotta buy him.
Yeah, Jeff
I don't
Hale's
think that-
planted.
I don't think they're going to be able to gather enough of a run at this point to be able to make a charge at Jeff. Oh, there's a crash.
Oh, there's a crash.
Oh, big crash!
And my guy is out of the race. And
Now this
Oh.
is where Ken is wishing he was close enough to get his lap back. But
Yeah.
Mark might stay on the lead lap.
They can't slow down
Wow.
at that point. It's just, you know, if it was prudent and he was right there, you could give him his lap back, but keep your momentum. So, wow, we're going to have
let's take a look at what happened.
GWC here.
We see everyone kind of doing their thing, and it. Let's. I'm gonna have to get a different look at this. Something happened with Ed there. I don't know if he got in the back of Dan or if the blew a tire or something. It almost looked like. Let's take a look at Ed's car here.
I think he might have got out of it, thinking he was going to get into the 007, and then when he did that, it just started to come around on him. He didn't want to hit the 007.
Yeah, of course. Cars have that was a little kind of a little vomit ride there.
Tough luck for the 27. He led a lot of laps, but
sure did, man. Yeah, nowhere to go really for Dan there. And if take another quick look back on it, as we're under caution here, Milty, as you talked about before, how things happen extremely fast here. If we go into the cockpit of Dan Irvine, is there anything that he could even tell was going wrong here? See,
well, your options are limited.
and there's a wild ride.
Yeah, I mean, it's a split second at 190 miles an hour. You lift off the gas and you're done. And you're getting hit, you know.
And your dinner's coming up on you.
That's it. I mean, that's plate racing in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, that's what happens. Everything's smooth as silk, and then you're spinning 30 times around and wondering what the heck happened.
Yeah, put my mind into the 80 car of Ed Finley. I'm thinking I got too close. He got out of it. He got out of it too hard.
Yeah, when you get off the gas there, unloaded the car, Milty, and
at 190 in the center, you can't do that. And the car just went around.
These aren't the pushy setups either with the Winston Cup. These cars turn, so you know the spring load here is not like a fixed fast setup that sometimes these guys are used to. And Ed is a FSB Cup driver, Milty, so you know setup wise he's used to a much tighter setup in general. And when you get off the gas on a tight setup, you don't get punished like that as much.
Absolutely. Always have to feather that gas, and
as opposed to
I like the chances of the 29 Jeff Hale here.
Yeah, you gotta like the leader in the
teammate behind him.
Really, all he needs to focus on now, Milty, is getting a quality restart and keeping his car down low that no one can worm their way in between the line and him. And let's face it, Jeff Hale's a super speedway champion, Winston Cup champion. He knows how to win a 3-lap shootout at a super speedway. Been there, done that.
Yeah, I don't like the rest of their chances.
Yeah, without something going strange, like a poor restart or spins the tires or breaks a gear, I really don't see
with the teammate behind him.
There. Yeah, especially with Slim
Jim. Slim will be very happy to get a quality finish here and move on and have his teammate and have his team get a team victory here.
Yeah,
Thing is that
Lights are
Bumblebee
still
back
on the pace
there,
car. Yeah, he's a wild card, Milty. He's had a great race. Quiet
and T-Roy run a fantastic race
Sure has.
all race long, and he's still right there.
As has Dan.
As does the 007.
Now those cars, I don't know what the damage situation
They're
is on them.
definitely going to go where the 29 doesn't. You know, I mean, 29 picks the outside line. But I don't think he can do. I think he's going to have to start down low. So these guys are going to gang up on him on the outside. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, that's your only chance of getting by him is right at the start, and see if you can get a push from a bunch of guys and go to the outside. That's very difficult to do, though, Milty.
Yeah, it's got to be a total bailout
with the restrictor plate, so it's really hard to be competitive going through the gears.
Light's still on the pace car.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll go out as he comes around here. And we'll have about a 6th lap. 5-lap dash for cash here.
Lights are out. Well, if you want to get anywhere, you gotta take a chance and go high line.
Yeah, we'll see. We got
those first two are not going to do that. 25 is going to defend 29. They're teammates. There's no way I could see him bailing on Jeff Hale.
Yeah, you know, this is when teammate stuff can get a little dicey. You know, if Slim gets a great restart.
Our rule was always 2 laps to go. Team FSB, you know, just not 2 laps to go. So our team rule was always, and Team Donkey Bob was always, you know, 2 laps to go. This ain't 2 laps to go, so you stick with your teammate, and then 2 laps to go. Then maybe you try to do something. Do everything you can to get him up front first.
Well, these guys have 5 laps to sort that out. Slim 2nd, Ken Shea 3rd, T-Roy 4th, Dan Jones 5th, and Dan Irvine 6th. Now,
it's still a great run for Irvine.
The 007 and 27 have to have some damage here, so I think they're going to fall off of this pace that's going to be set. So really, it's the top 4, I think, that may decide this, Milty.
Well, but, you know, the 27 has made his mark. You know, he has earned respect, and you're going to see things from Dan Irvine here. But yet, like you said, they're already losing time.
Yeah, we can see Dan also off the pace. So Jeff Hale, Slim, Ken Shea, T-Roy is going to be one of those guys is going to be our winner. Who will it be? T-Roy. Have we given T-Roy a broadcast win yet, Milty? I don't think so. Maybe
nope.
There's the first time for that. We just got done talking with Ken last week. We've talked with Slim, and Jeff has his own cheer up here in the booth here. I think our crew here is dusting off now as in anticipation. So yeah,
well, you got the man up
17 car victory lane here.
Yeah, you got the man up front there, and you got his teammate. This is really hard. T-Roy's going to go, obviously, with Bumblebee or Ken Shea, and
yeah, and
that move is going to be made on the last lap.
Yeah, Ken maybe going to sit back just a bit and try to get the run on Slim and get some momentum, shoot to the outside, and then carry it around the turn.
Other lead lap cars and lap cars are going to be a factor here, so it's Cuatro Cinco here. 4 guys. Let's get it on. if you're a driver, I'm a driver, or used to be. I'm thinking I'm Ken Shea. There's no way these guys are going to break up. I need to work with that 17.
Oh, we have a caution out here.
A caution is out.
Wow.
Oh, no. That's going to end it right there.
Yeah, that's going to end the race. And, wow, that's a surprising caution. Looks like the 27 car may have hit the wall.
Yeah, he done. We gave it his all and showed what he can do. Not going to be his night, and going to be 29's night here, it looks like. Right on the edge here of whether NASCAR will make this thing green, but got to have enough fuel, I think, here from this point on.
Well, it doesn't look like there was any wreck by Dan there. It looks like he just pulled the car in to the pits and, you know, called it a night. The car really beat up. Wow. It's ugly. I have to say that's not the prettiest car in the world. We're trying to find out what happened here, why we had a caution.
It's got to be some wall contact there somewhere.
And we're looking back, we can see that the lights are still green here. And we know it's not from our lead group, obviously. So we're trying to find and the caution is out, and that's about the whole field there. So trying to figure out what happened there, Melty. I don't see any.
Think T-Roy threw a vodka bottle out there, or? I don't think so. He was trying to win this race, but
yeah, that's we'll have to. Okay, so we're watching the pace car now, and we'll see when the lights come on. Lights just come on right there. And if we're looking at the field here, there is absolutely nothing on the track, Milty, so it appears that it was like a ghost caution. There was no incident on the track. The only thing I saw was Dan Irvine brought the car down pit lane and stopped there. But that's certainly, in my experience, I've never seen a caution come out because of that. So maybe the drivers saw something that we couldn't see there on the replay. But looks like Jeff Hale, as we are on 79 of 80 laps wise, is going to be our winner. Slim will be second, Ken Shea third. T-Roy will have to settle for fourth and not get. And if you're Ken Shea now, you're like, I didn't even get the chance to make that final stab.
Well, still, a P1 and a P3, that's a pretty good start.
That's a great start to the season for the 91. Obviously, he'll be the points leader still. And Jeff Hale just has to cruise around at about 55 miles an hour one more time, and he will be our race winner. Well, kind of a letdown on the finish there, Milty, with the action that we saw and the green flag stops, and you know, the anticipation of what would you know, maybe Slim, Ken, T-Roy do at the end there, but Jeff Hale with a well-earned victory knows how to get around super speedways.
Yeah, as a driver, you take it and like it and go, because we got a long season. It's going to be tougher the way these races pan out sometimes, and feel that execution. I mean, like if you're T-Roy out of the podium, I'm sure you'd like to get on TV and talk, but it's so close for the 17 team. It's been a while since they've been on the podium, and so close. Great execution all night, and Steve Roy from Stocktown just came up a little bit short there.
Yeah, a great race by T-Roy, all race. Quality pit stops, stayed with the lead group basically the whole race, and quality top 5 for him as well. But yeah, as I said, I'm sure you would have at least loved to bump up one position there, but not to be. Jeff Hale will come down the front straight one last time here, and he will be taking the checkered flag. There it is. And Jeff Hale will be the winner of this race. Slim second, Roy fourth, round out top 5, Dan Jones. Only 5 cars on the lead lap.
Well, after last week, that's a good start for your former King of the Hill winner, Dan Jones. He's definitely shows you the skill level and luck level sometimes you need to have, and you got to execute and be in the right time, at the right place at the right time.
And our final running order, 17 cars took the green flag, 9 finishing the race. Some cars beat up there. Saw some hard crashes, some green flag stops, some good side-by-side, 3-wide action at times. And now we're going to see Jeff Hale in a familiar spot, Milty, and that's Victory Circle.
That's how he do. He's been through, back issues, and I'm feeling that right now, so I understand that, and he's really back on the saddle again, and any race he shows up at, he's got a chance to win, and you're seeing that in the register of wins the last couple of years. He's been piling them up, man.
Yeah, he's, when I grow up, I want to be like Jeff Hale. So, maybe Milty will go and gather our top 3. That's Jeff, Jim, and Ken Shea. In fact, I think it was almost the same 3 last week. Jeez.
Yeah, barring Don Reap. He was on the podium last week, so.
So, some familiar faces already showing up here, just week 2. And we'll see the final running order, as we said. Top 10 for Dan Irvine. I'm sure not a satisfying top 10 after Dan put a great effort in on his first race. Led probably the most laps of anyone in the race as well. But just caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time there, and damage to the car, just couldn't continue. Also a bunch of other guys there that had quality rides and just couldn't keep the fenders straight and had to retire. So our final run in order, and take a look here and wait for our podium finishers to join us. FSBRacing.com. Check it out. Check the website out. It's definitely worth it. You can be just like our good friend here, Dan Irvine. Registered up, got all the stuff put on the computer proper. Showed up on Friday night and led a bunch of laps. Looked like Jeff Hale out in the front there for a while. I kept saying, is that 29 or 27? What? Kind of confused there for a second, but no. In the end, no confusion. and that's our race winner, Jeff Hale. A very familiar sight for you at Daytona, Jeff. Congratulations on another win there, and sure not the finish that we were all hoping for there, but nonetheless, in the right place at the right time, good stops at the end, and another Winston Cup win under your belt. Congratulations.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, a lot of help to my buddy Slim there for pushing me pretty much the whole race. Had a solid night, good stops. Played a few mileage there early in case we need to come down to that. But cautions kind of late there, kind of ruined that for everybody. Kind of keep an eye on Ken there. I know he was strong all night too, and I think he had a little bit of damage there at the end. Kind of hurt him, but good run by everybody. A lot of fun out there. And I wonder if I can get a new chair. This one here is wearing out.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was telling Milty, our crew has to kind of prep the chair now for you in the last few laps, just in case you do finish off the race there. So yeah, we're gonna have to dip into the budget here, Jeff, and get you a Barca lounger or something like that, so you can be a little more comfortable. Uh, but speaking of teammates there, super speedway racing is all about friends. And Slim, you played the friend tonight. Solid second, right on the bumper. I think you put a piece of paper between your front bumper and Jeff's rear bumper. That would have been about it. So pretty good job there. Good teamwork there, Slim.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I can't go wrong staying on his bumper. He's the super speedway king, so I followed his lead all night long, and you see what it got us.
Well, yeah, if it would have went green, I'd still think it would have been the same, because you guys, that was like the dynamic duo right there, Batman and Robin going at it. So,
me and this guy have been racing for a long time, man. Even before we came here, so we know each other well on these super speedways.
Yeah, and it shows, man. And well, let's find out from the horse's mouth, so to speak, here, Milty. Ken Shea, our last week's race winner, solid, as they said, Ken, solid all night. Would you have had anything for him with T-Roy there, maybe giving you a little push at the end? Were you thinking of making that last final outside push?
No, I couldn't. I had so much damage. It was, well, not a lot of damage, but I had enough. I mean, in that first accident, I don't know, they didn't do any work on it, but if I was out by myself, I was a parachute out there. So I just had to stay in line.
Well, I think fans want to know, are you attempting to run the full season? You definitely leading the points. We're kind of hoping to see you get a championship here. Can you do it?
Well, the plan is to try to make them all, but there's a lot of things that come up.
That's life, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that would be
But that's good news.
Yeah,
at least you're gonna try.
Yeah, that will give at least keep Jeff and Slim a little honest there, Ken.
Well, this guy is good, man. If he gets a chance to run every race, or even miss a couple, he still has a chance to win a championship.
No question about that.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Ken started off to a great start this season, not just here on Friday nights, but we've had some races, throughout the week. And yeah, Ken's been battling me, and it seems like he's my new rivalry now. It's kind of looking for Matt, because he's always been a threat for me. But yeah, Ken's the new one in my book. So great job, Ken. Let's keep it going this season.
Ken also goes back. He goes way back with me and Jeff too, back to days before we ever came to FSB. So we all three have known each other quite a long time.
Yeah, we were remarking on that as we were all lined up there, just saying, "Damn, what is that, like 800 years of sim?"
Hey, watch it now.
Okay.
I said
like 750.
Like 750. There we go.
I said 100. All right, so
yeah, that was obviously a gross under exaggeration, Milton. But, yeah, we were just remarking on that. Man, look at these three guys at the front, and all these gray beards at the front, and with all these we're all the young, hungry ones.
Well, he was out there tonight and got in the booth with us a little bit. Stay tuned. It's 2 races out of 20, so never know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
really early, you know.
Absolutely, and that's why we do it, man. You never know what's gonna happen week to week, and that's gonna be another race in the books, guys. And appreciate putting on the show for us. And Milty, as always, pleasure doing business with you.
Yeah.
And again, Jeff, great job. Slim, professional as always, and Ken, like we said, love to see you out there week to week. Want to see you try to make that championship run, and we're all behind you there.
Points are up, so it is.
All right, so check it out, fsbracing.com. Be on the air, Winston Cup Racing Friday nights. Come check it out.